this is Megan from caringtocare.com. I'm so happy that you're here. In honor of Mental Health Awareness Week, I want to do a video about high functioning depression. I'm a life coach and I help women who struggle with anxiety and feeling a little lost in life live lives of peace filled with purpose. A lot of the women I work with are the healers among us, and it is very easy for people like that to look outside of ourselves and care for those around us while neglecting ourselves. What I like to let women know that caring for yourself is caring for others. It gives them permission to care for themselves. It gives them an awareness of responsibility that we all have to care for ourselves. And it also helps women to come from a place of strength so that they're able, out of their own abundance, to easily and naturally care for others. So in my own life, I did struggle with high functioning depression, and I did not know what it was until years later. I want to make a video about it and let you know some signs so that you can check yourself and see that maybe you are struggling with high functioning depression. Stay tuned. So what is high functioning depression? Well, we all know what just depression is, right? The classic, you can't get out of bed. It's physically almost impossible to pull yourself out of bed. Even brushing your teeth or going for a walk, simple actions are just you're incapacitated. You feel a weight on you all of the time. And anyone who's gone through depression can tell you that you need help. It's to the point where you can't go to work. You really need to get some help before you can function again in your life. High functioning depression is where you are able to get out of bed, but you are also feeling the symptoms of depression. So you're living your life in a high functioning way, but internally you're a mess and you're struggling. So I dealt with that, and I can tell you that these tips that I'm about to give you line up perfectly with how I was feeling at that time before I even knew what high functioning depression was. These tips are taken from an article on Bustle. It's by Emily Dixon, and she herself researched the Mayo Clinic and what they say about high functioning depression. And I will link the article below or in the comments. You can look at it yourself. The first one is, you feel sad or empty a lot of the time. If you feel sad or empty a lot of the time, you might be dealing with high functioning depression. Maybe even most of the time you feel empty or sad. Number 2 is, you find yourself sleeping too much or too little. And this is what happened with me. I slept a lot. I went through some emotional trauma, so I knew where my high functioning depression was coming from. I knew the root. And for me, sleeping was a very healing thing. My body and my mind knew that that's what I needed. So the body is wonderful, and our heart, our mind, it will tell us what we need. We need to tune in to that. These signs, if you match up with them, then I encourage you to also get help, as well as tuning into your own heart. Also get help, and there is lots of ways to do that. There's life coaches like me that can work with you. There's also mental health care practitioners. There's even things online, a site called BetterHelp. You can actually go online and sign up with a counselor. Going to YouTube and listening to counselors. Alan Robarge is someone I love to listen to. He talks about attachment a lot. He's someone that you could go and listen to right now and take that action step if you are feeling like, yeah, this is me. So we're only at number 2. Number 3 is you have physical pain that you can't explain. And this usually manifests in the form of headaches or backaches. So your head hurts a lot for no reason, and when you take ibuprofen, it doesn't work. It's not the time of the month, or you've had extra sugar or something that can explain your headache. It's just there. Or your backache. For me, I had lower back pain, and I still struggle with it sometimes. And it's about my body. I have a little bit of scoliosis. My legs are a little uneven. So there are explainable things. But when I was going through that, it was manifesting at a higher level. So that's another sign. You have physical pain that you can't explain, such as a headache or a backache is usually how it manifests itself. Number 4, the sign that you might have high functioning depression is that you don't enjoy the things you used to enjoy. I taught little Asian kids, and I really loved classes, and I loved being around them. And I found that when I was going through this time in my life, work was kind of drudgery. It was I just felt very closed off, very non-emotional, and the things that I used to enjoy, I just didn't enjoy anymore. I just had a numbness going through life. So if that sounds like you might have high functioning depression. You might be going through that right now. 5 is you often or always feel worried or guilty. And emotions are signals, and some of these emotions are letting you know, stop now. Something needs to happen. And these negative emotions are hitting you to let you know, stop. You're at a red light right now and it's red. Stop. Your emotions are trying to tell you, stop. So if you're feeling any sort of negative emotion and you can't explain it, then it usually means that you need to really tune into your heart and your gut and maybe even get help if you need it. Okay, number 6, you find you're easily irritated or angered. So if you are dealing with high functioning depression, you may notice that you have a very short fuse. You don't have a lot of patience for anything. So that's a sign that you might be dealing with high functioning depression. Number 7 is you constantly feel exhausted. Remember when I had to sleep a lot? That was my body and my mind and my heart letting me know something is wrong and we need time to heal. We need that space. So my body was constantly exhausted. And if you find that you're going through that and you can't explain it, it might mean that you're struggling with high functioning depression. Number 8 is you have a low sense of self-worth. So this kind of goes back to the guilt, feeling guilty. You can't really explain the feeling. You haven't done really anything wrong. You just have this sense that you're not worthy. Others don't like you. Maybe you feel that way. Or you're just not worthy. You're not as worthy as everyone else to just be in this world. So if you're feeling that way, it's a sign of high functioning depression. So the last sign that she talks about is the most important. Your friends and your family think everything is fine, and maybe they don't even have a clue. This is something that's a little sensitive because, as we all know, we've taken great strides in America especially, and I'm so proud of us, to be more aware of our mental health and more aware that we all have differences, we all have beautiful minds, and we all struggle at different levels. It's not just this class of people or that class of people or you or me or we're all distinguished. It's that we all have times that we need help from others because we're made for connection. We're made to be connected to others. So there is no shame in having high functioning depression or just straight out depression, chemical imbalances that you're dealing with. Oh, there's so many things that I could name surrounding mental health, postpartum depression. There's so many things I can name that there's a little stigma still that nobody talks about, that when you hear about somebody that has depression or you yourself think, I wonder if I'm struggling with depression, you kind of think I'm not as good as other people because I should just be able to be happy. Please throw that thought out the window. Happiness is attainable, but you need to take the action steps and give yourself the space and the time you need to heal if you need to heal, to connect if you need to connect. Tune into your body and your heart and throw that stigma out the window. Some people, like me, I think too, I was kind of in denial that I had high functioning depression because after all, it was high functioning, so I could live my life. Who am I to say that I need help or I feel guilty for taking somebody else's time, for receiving? And that's another sign. If you're reluctant to receive or you're blocked somehow from receiving others' love, that's a big sign that you might be dealing with high functioning depression. So the challenge in this video, ladies, is I want you to challenge your narrative. I want you to first challenge yourself, and instead of just accepting that baseline of saying, this is my life now, I deal with sadness, to really step up and care for yourself and take the step to say, no, I don't have to live like this. Healing is possible for me. I am worthy to be healed. I am worthy to be happy. I am worthy to walk in abundance. And that is attainable. So I want you to receive that thought, to accept it right now, that it is attainable for you to live in a state of happiness and abundance. So right now we're going to take a deep breath, and I want you to receive that thought and let it out. Feel your body. Relax your shoulders and your face. And one more breath. You are worthy, and let it out. Happiness and abundance is attainable to you. The second challenge I would like to bring to you is, if